we should be able to scale it. This right here is the model of the portable reader. So this is the entire working, making use of uh, the previous two concepts, these two concepts. So how do we improve the sensitivity of this situation? Uh, the most natural and obvious way is that we can improve the affinity of the ATF for the analyte. ATF here is STRF1 and the analyte would be progesterone. Also, altering the ratio of transcription factors conjugated to the quantum dot could improve the sensitivity so that a wide range of exposure could prevent competition between the species. Also, we should eliminate the unwanted reactions. We should make sure that there is nothing else in the analyte which could react with our particular transcription factor. If it does, it would make no sense. So the way forward to this is there are fertility tests, uh, basically like the pregnancy tests which are used. And in that, there is no particular biosensor available to detect progesterone in the urine as of now. What we now do is presently do is measure HCG levels in the urine of a female. And then this is the most important thing, reusability. Uh, it offers a reusable nature as we don't use any secondary antibody. And this is the biggest selling point of this way of making a biosensor. Cell-free gene circuits. We don't use a whole cell, so the viability of the cell doesn't matter. And in case we want to improve it anytime, we can use directed evolution to improve its efficiency. So these are primarily the selling points of this biosensor. And the way forward would
Okay.
be
Hussein,
that,
please try to continue. Hussein,
yes,
please try to continue.
this is the last slide. So the bacteria have evolved over 3 billion years and they have adapted to respond to a wide range of stimulus. We should make use of that. 99% of the microbes are not known. So we'll definitely find more things to use as stimulus. This is a new paradigm of biosensors and its inexpensiveness and its feasibility improves life all around the world. Thank you. I've attached the references.
Okay, very good. Very nice. See, the one positive things in your slide that you put so many, I mean, some boxes and put the main themes and not the so many sentences that I like. Good, but I would say please try to manage the time. As I said, 5 minutes. This is kind of the time management is very important because while you go for your some job interview or sometimes they will give you very short time. So I can give you 10 minutes, but while I put the 5 minutes because it is kind of the preparation you have to take before the presentation. So then only you can summarize your point, views, everything within a short time. And they wanted to see if the idea is clear to you or not. If you can present within a short time so that they can find, yeah, you are the good candidate for this position. I mean, this is for the job interview like this. But if you take the very long time to present your review, they can see that your idea is not so clear, like this. Otherwise, I mean, generally presentation takes time. I understand. This is just for practice needed if you want to present within a short time. That's why I put this 5 minutes only. But I already consider, I mean, more than 5 minutes. But please try to practice while you go for the job interview. If they ask within 10 minutes or within 7 minutes, so please complete at least few seconds before you should complete it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, this is just for suggestion. Okay, I think you took long time. Just I can go to the next speaker now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Now the Bhupendra pattern.
Yes, sir. I'm presenting. Sir, is it visible? Hello?
Yes, Bhupendra. The slide is visible. Yeah, you can start.
So the topic of my topic of my presentation is breath biosensing using electrochemical enzymatic sensors via non-invasive techniques. So before going into the topic, I will answer some of the questions that we might think why non-invasive techniques and what are electrochemical enzymatic sensor, or to be more specific, biosensor. So non-invasive detection of biomarkers has been a subject of recent interest because of its ability for more extensive screening and ease of sampling when compared with invasive methods such as blood collection or any kind of sample delivery to any center. So non-invasive screening methods include biomarker detection in body fluids including urine, saliva, tears, sweat, breath, etc. So this was the introduction of non-invasive techniques, and next on we move on to the electrochemical enzymatic biosensor. So before describing this enzymatic electrochemical breath sensor, I will answer the question, what is electrochemical enzymatic biosensor? So electrochemical enzymatic biosensors follow the typical design of biosensor consisting of biochemically selective layer containing an enzyme responsible for analyte recognition paired with a transducing element for detection and signal readout like any other biosensor. So enzymatic electrochemical breath sensor is a type of electrochemical enzymatic sensor. So as here in the slide we can see the enzymatic electrochemical breath sensor developed includes the following components: choices of sample to be diagnosed, immobilizing the enzyme on the electrode surface, which is different from any other biosensor which we use. So the third part is the electrical communication between the enzyme and the electrode, which is, we can say, electron transfer. What is the method of electron transfer in this kind of biosensor? So the last part of the component is the electrochemical technique for the analyte detection, which is the type or the instrument which we use to detect the signal. So here we can see the technique here for the electron transfer is the two types: mediated electron transfer through redox active moieties, and the second one is the direct electron transfer through the tunneling, which we have seen. So moving on to the schematic part of the enzymatic biosensor, breath one. So here we can see a person who is having the breath to be analyzed or analyte, breath collection is done or breath condenser is used, and by this gas capture, breath analyte reacts with biocatalyst and enzyme immobilization matrix, and then electron is transferred, and then electrical signal is processed using some chronoamperometry or calibration curve is drawn like this thing. So here this has been mentioned from left to right. Breath samples were collected through a breath bubble or breath condenser and is allowed to react with the enzyme of choice. As the enzymes are immobilized on the electrode surface, the electrical response generated can be calibrated to target and lead concentration for readout in a device. This is user-friendly output. So moreover, a variety of electrochemical techniques here exist for the quantification of interest, as we can also see. But the most viable technique here for EBBs is chronoamperometry, where measure current is proportional to the substrate concentration of the biochemical reaction, as we have already seen in our previous class. So the coming to the application part of this biosensor, many analytes in the breath have clinical application for diagnosing disease based on the biomarker signatures caused by pathogenic mechanism of the specific disease. Thus, for the analytes like ethanol, acetone, lactic acid, or carbon dioxide, we will have different EEBBs. So, the most important point of our concern is the ethanol. This is the intoxicant which is of frequent target. So it is detected through alcohol oxidase or alcohol dehydrogenase in enzymatic biosensing system. Alcohol oxidase converts ethanol and oxygen gas to acetaldehyde and hydrogen peroxide, and this reaction has been measured by the decrease or of oxygen or measurement of hydrogen peroxide at electrode surface. We can note here one thing, that using this technique the linear range of the detection limit of the intoxicant in the sample ranges between 50 to 500 ppm, which is a quite a good range, but the limit of detection can be further improved by 50% using some background subtraction of the competing side reactions, which creates the efficiency of our biosensor is decreased. So we have to just prohibit this reaction. So we can see in the diagram how this breath ethanol detection system on the screen printed electrode is created. First, we take a PBS containing mediator and we insert chromatography paper which absorbs the phosphate buffered saline containing a mediator or an enzyme, and it is then dried, and this is like this way, and we put it on the screen printed electrode which is enzyme supporting layer, and this system is analyzed electrochemically using potentiostat. This is our output generator. So in this diagram is like this way. We have three components, and then in our end we have our output. So the conclusion and the future directions which can be opted for in the field, no doubt, electrochemical enzymatic biosensor are powerful tool for non-invasive biomarker detecting aid in a point-of-care diagnosis. As we all know, by improving the detection limit of EEBBs, they can excel in the simplicity over the common analytical techniques such as gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, and laser spectroscopy. We focused here on this technique and feasible enzymatic biosensor on ethanol, which is an important biomarker in the breath. And coming to the future direction of the field, we focus on combining these enzymatic systems for simultaneous detection of breath and LEDs, which will lead to comprehensive enzymatic breath analysis technique, which we can bring into the market for at low cost and high and which is having high ultra sensitive or high efficiency. So thank you, sir. This is my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Vendra. So very good. The same things I will say that some slides there are so many sentences. Please try to reduce some sentences. Huh? And the presentations, yeah, otherwise it is fine. So any questions? Anyone? You can ask me, Vendra.
No questions,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Okay, fine, Vendra. So you can stop sharing. We can go
Thank
to
you,
the
sir.
next. We can go to the next person. Uh, Saket Verma.
Yes, sir.
You
Good
can
evening.
start.
Present.
Start sharing.
Hello, sir. Can you see my slide?
Yes, you can. You can. Yeah, you can start.
Yeah. Good evening, sir, and good evening, everybody. My name is Saket Verma. I'm finally a student from the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering. My topic is nano-enabling biosensing systems for intelligent healthcare towards COVID-19 management. Coming to the introduction, emergence of nanotechnology enabled biosensor-based diagnostics. Since the discoveries of biosensors efforts are continuously being made for translating a demonstrated and optimized sensing prototype to an analytical diagnostic tool for clean applications. And so for that, there is an introduction of new concept, that is Internet of Nanobiothinks. This was introduced for investigation of nanoscale devices to perform interbody sensing, environmental control for toxic substances and the pollution. Then the IOBNT is capable of transferring health informatics from inside the body to the external health provider. This can be done through the internet, which has potential to evaluate during the delivery and efficiency. For that, the potential application of point of care testing is to use an optimized smart a point of care diagnostics tool. This type of testing can detect the desired biomarker, um, and also these informatics can be analyzed for personalized health wellness. And also modern material has facilitated that preparation and fabrication of nano-enabled smart sensing substrates such as biopolymers and metal oxides, composites and hybrids. And uh, this is an illustration of an artificial intelligence supported point of care diagnostics for intelligence healthcare. With the next generation biosensor based diagnostics approach for personalized healthcare. In the artificial based intelligence diagnostic system, biosensor senses the data which rely on the corresponding bioinformatics. After the collection of the data, these data will be sensed and reveal those biomarker. This can be easily diagnosed with the means of an Internet of Things based technologies. The, uh, IoT wearable device and artificial intelligence based healthcare monitoring system. The IoT wearable device and artificial intelligence based healthcare monitoring system incorporates an IoT edge technology and artificial intelligence technology to provide predictive capabilities. The IoT edge technology provides a way to package and deploy artificial intelligence models. After the data collection from the sensors, from the wearable IoT device, uh, the artificial intelligence infrastructure needs to design and develop AI models, which includes machine learning and deep learning models. Once AI models are ready for deployment, there are two ways to analysis the model. First is to deploy on the AI model, and the second is IoT device and deploy IoT device deploy on the IoT edge gateway function. After the analysis, the appropriate action will be taken by the AI model, will predict the anomalies on the streaming data and generate proper actions. This is an illustration of intelligent diagnostic for COVID-19 management. Uh, um, this is an biological structure of SARS-CoV-2 virus protein, and the possibility of human to human transmission and its possibility to avoid the spreading with the means of mask. And also the necessity of nano-enabled technologies, the nano-enabled sensing supported by AI and IoT for smart diagnostics of COVID-19 and intelligent diagnostic approach toward the personalized COVID-19 management. Based on my studies and I have pointed out some key findings and discussions. So the necessity of biosensors can be easily able to detect the COVID virus with the means of IoT device and wearable sensing technologies. And also this it can be easily helpful to the healthcare systems to find out the risk factors, and this type of approach will be able to helpful to assess the needs of individual in the factor of neuro behavioral alteration and safer practice. And suppose so the most common sensor we are using is now saturated oxygen pulse oximeter sensor. In that sensor, we are using the infrared light will be passed through the fingers, and it will calculate the saturated levels of the oxygen. So if the this type of sensors can be incorporated with the wearable devices, it can be visible. It can easily calculate the saturation levels, and it will be thus data will be transferred to the healthcare system. So with that, it can be easily possible to detect the COVID-19 effects of a person. This is my reference paper, which I have used for the study. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sax Baba. So it's nice arrangement. Your slides good. Just one comment from my side while you're presenting. I saw that speaking some sentences. I saw your confidence not so good. Maybe you need some more practice. Huh? And sometimes stopped before saying to another. In what word you are somewhere you stopping actually. I mean somehow I cannot remember some information, something like this. So it is common, but I'm saying while you are presenting with a very short time in front of some interviewer, so you have to practice a little bit because it is very short time presentation, so that there will be no time gap. When means it is not like the short time presentation. So for long time presentation, same thing. If you practice more, there will be no time gap. Like thoroughly, I mean fluently you are speaking, so it will be more catchy, and you can say the presentation will be more presentable towards the interviewer. Huh? Okay.
Yes, sir. Sure.
I think that's what I'm saying, right? Okay, nice.
Thank you.
So, so anyone you have any questions, please ask him. Do you have any questions, guys? To Saket Verma? Okay. Otherwise, you can go to the next speaker. Thank you, Saket. So you can you already stop sharing. Okay, you can go to the next speaker now.
Hello, am I audible? Hello,
Saurav.
hello.
Yes, you are audible. Yes.
Yes, I'll present.
Saurav Dinesh. Yeah. You can start sharing.
Yes, sir. So it is visible, right?
Yes, it's visible. You can start. Yeah.
Okay. So good afternoon. My name is Saurabh Chavan, and I am going to present review of the article titled "Hemagglutinin-based biosensor for early detection of swine flu infection in human." Uh, so first, I'll give an introduction. The H1N1 is an orthomoxy virus that contains glycoproteins, hemagglutinin, and neuraminidase. The H1N1 is a subtype of influenza A virus. It is respiratory disease that occurs in pigs as a influenza A virus. So the current methods for diagnosis are ELISA, complement inhibition test, rapid influenza diagnostic test, and RT-PCR. The RT-PCR test takes more than 4 hours and requires multiple fluorescent labeled DNA probes for detection. The ELISA is a alternative tool when number of cases is large during an outbreak and RT-PCR is unavailable. So this test, the diagnostic method mentioned above, are time-consuming, complicated, or expensive, and mostly based either on antigen antibody interaction or fluorescence-based techniques. So here these in this article they have mentioned a disposable cysteine based modified screen printed gold electrodes which can overcome the disadvantages which I mentioned earlier. Here I will explain the fabrication of sensor. A screen printed gold electrode that contains gold as a working and counter electrode and silver as reference electrode was chemically modified for development of hemagglutinin gene specific impedimetric biosensor. The cysteine was the cysteine was placed on working area of the AU electrode to create a fixed monolayer of cysteine. The 5' labeled DNA, single strand DNA of hemagglutinin was diluted with EDC and NHS, the N hydroxyamide, it was diluted with an hydroxyamide and was put on the working area of gold electrode. The the cDNA of the H1N1 sample was heated at 95 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes to make a single strand cDNA for hybridization with complementary single strand DNA on the probe. So in the next slide, there are 3 plots in this diagram. The outer plot is Nyquist complex impedance study of electrode, and the circuit diagram here contains RS, which is electrolyte resistance. CDL is double layer capacitance. RCT is charge transfer resistance, and WD represents the Warburg diffusion element. So, so in this outer plot, the RCT of unmodified gold surface working electrode was measured to be lower than probe. By mistake, the probe is not shown over here, but the unmodified gold surface working electrode was measured to be lower than probe. As the single strand hybridization of single strand cDNA increases, the RCT value increases, which is due to presence of more phosphate groups on the surface of gold electrode, which causes increase in RCT value and hence finally saturated. Now this inner plot shows relative RCT values of different concentration with respect to probe as 0 are plotted. So so from this plot we can see that at lower concentrations of hybridizing lower concentrations, the single strand cDNA is directly related to the signal. So while plotting so we have used these initial concentrations at which signal changes with increasing concentration for calculation of limit of detection and sensitivity. So in this plot, the 0.1, 0.5, and 1 nanogram per microliter concentration are used. So so the sensitivity, so from this plot, above plot, the sensitivity was calculated using the formula m by a, where m represents the slope of the line, which is 472.9, and a is the working surface area of the gold electrode, which is 0.126 centimeter square. And the limit of detection of the biosensor was determined using 3 into sigma divided by S, where sigma stands for standard deviation and S is sensitivity. From using this, we calculate that sensitivity and limit of detection of the biosensor. Hello. Sir, it is visible. Yeah, so,
Yes.
so
Continue.
those
Continue and
sensitivity and
conclude.
limited detection of the biosensor was found to be 3,750 ohm centimeter square per centimeter square per nanograms, and of single strand CDNA, and 0.04 nanogram respectively. So from this, we can conclude that it requires small volume of DNA samples, 6 microliter, to cover the AU working electrode surface, which is of 0.126 centimeter square. It is disposable screen printed AU electrode, which can bind minimum 0.04 nanogram DNA, and it requires only 6 microliter volume to cover the working electrode. Since after hybridization with probe, excess unbound DNA is was, the limit of detection of sensor cannot be changed even if made in higher concentration. So this sensor takes only 30 minutes for confirmation of the H1N1 infection. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, nice. So it's good work on this H1N1 infection detection. So you guys, do you have any questions to Saurabh, or you can go to the next? Okay, Saurabh, thank you very much. So now we're going to go to the next one. Dibjyoti Datta, you can start.
Yes, sir, I'm sharing.
Yes, please share. This slides. Yes, now it is visible. Yeah, you can start.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir and friends. Good afternoon to all. My name is Devjyoti, and today my topic for the presentation is ultrasensitive biosensor for diagnosis of human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. HIV is detected by monitoring the viral load, and early detection of HIV infection is the best way to prevent its spread.